In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. We see in the first line of the Bible that God is the very beginning of everything. No one came ahead of him, and there was absolutely nothing until God decided that he was going to create something. I want to stop right there because we live in this age of enlightenment where we have all of this intellect and creativity and education and technology. And it's very easy for us to get caught up in what we know and what we can do and what we can have. But this shows us right here that we are nothing when compared to the greatness and the power of God. And that the most important reason for our existence is to glorify and magnify and to praise and serve God. And the scripture says that the earth was void and without form. Void means empty. There was nothing there. And without form, the planets had not even been formed yet. And they were not yet organized into galaxies and solar systems. There was nothing but outer space and blackness and water. And it says that the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And that touches my soul so deeply because I can't help but think about myself and my own life and how my life was void. It was empty. Yes, the talent was there. Yes, the gifts were there. Yes, even the call was on my life. But I had not yet accepted the plan of salvation of God in my life. So none of that meant anything. But God saw fit to move in my life. And I just want you to stop and take a minute to think about the impact of the move of God in your life. And if you have not yet experienced a move of God in your life, I challenge you today to ask God to move in your life. Welcome to season 2 of the Sanctuary Sunday School. I am so excited. We've spent the entire summer working and upgrading our website. So go log on to www.thesanctuary.academy and you'll see different notifications popping up in the window in the video so that you'll be able to go and click on these links and go right to the website. And as always, on our resources page, I have the free PDF that you can download, you can use, you can study with your family, you can even use it in your church at your own Sunday school sessions. And also, I have a free gift for you this season. I authored an ebook and it is available to you. It's called Mining Your Gold, and it is available to you at the website at absolutely no charge. So go ahead and download that ebook. We also have added a store, the Sanctuary Academy store, where you can download goodies. You know, the holiday season is coming up, or if you just want to show someone how much you love them, there's great gift ideas there for you. Now, this week's subject, the first days of creation. I love studying and talking about the creation because it just shows us how good God is and what a mighty God we serve. And as we talked about, it says that the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And then God began to speak into the world. He spoke the world into existence and he said, let there be light. And the light was created. And it says that God saw that the light was good. And then the light he called day and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning, that was the first day. And that is such a way how God organizes things. And He's so consistent and he sustains us because that wasn't just something that he did when he created that first day. He has been consistent day after day after day, all the way to this day in 2018, because that's how God is, that's who God is, and that's what God does. And so we see that he created day and he created night. And then it says that he created a firmament, because if you look at the beginning of the text, it says that it was just water. It was water everywhere. You had this darkness and you have this water. So now God created light. So now he had to create a firmament. And the firmament is the heavens that divides the water from the water. And sometimes if you are at a large body of water, like a large lake or an ocean, you will see the horizon, and it's where the water seems to go into the sky, and the sky and the water seems to meet. And God just created the world so that it's so beautiful. If you're ever there at the horizon and you're watching the sunset or the sunrise over the horizon, it is just one of the most beautiful things in the world. And it's just another testimony to just how great and how mighty God is. So he created the day and he created the night and created the firmament, which is the division and the heavens. And it said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters and let it divide the waters from the waters. And that's exactly what he did. And then God allowed the land to rise up. We have the 7 continents of the world, and these masses of land rose up to separate these waters. And now we have places where the green grass can grow and the trees can grow and the water is still there so that we can use the water. And then there's water above the firmament that can come down and rain on the green grass and the trees. And God just thought this thing all the way through. And sometimes if we just look at the creation and if we just look at how perfect it is, the atmosphere and everything that's there, how can you doubt God? How can you have any fear? How can you not have faith and believe in a God like this? As we study the succession of events at the creation, we see how strategic God is, and we can just really trust the plan of God because we see on that first day, he created light. And then on the second day, he created the firmament, and the firmament is the place where we see the difference in the light and the darkness in the heavens. So he had all of that organized. And then on the third day, he brought up the land, and he had to create the land before he created the trees and the grass so that they would have some place to be. And as we look at the creation and how he took his time and strategically placed everything in alignment. Remember, this is God. God could have just snapped his fingers and everything would have just come up at once. But God took his time and he formed this earth and he created it step by step. And that is really a lesson to us on how we should follow God, because sometimes we get out of order. We might have the gift, we might have the talent, we may have the calling, but sometimes we try to go and do one thing before we have everything in place that we need for that thing. And it shows us how God is in control. And all that we have to do is trust him, believe him. And when we trust and obey God, it will lead to obedience. And this is another lesson that we can learn from creation, because as God spoke everything into existence, it happened just as he said. He did not say, let there be light, and the light decided not to shine. He did not say, let there be a firmament, and the firmament decided not to appear. He did not try to bring up the land, and the land refused to produce the trees and the grass. Everything that God spoke did exactly what God said. If they can obey the voice of the Lord, what does that say about us? If we can just follow the example of the creation, and we haven't gotten to the part of the creation where we were created yet, but if we can just follow the example of what God has already created, then we will be just fine. And God was able to create the world to function as it should and to do as it was supposed to do, because this was where God was in these first few days of creation. And I just want you to just meditate on that and think about the goodness and the thoughtfulness and the strategicness of God and how great he is and how powerful he is, just for being God and just because he is the God of the creation.